Hi and welcome to the beginners course from me, Annie Lucas, at Start to Stitch. I started this course a number of years ago because many friends of mine, had been looking at the work that I'd been doing professionally and had said to me, we really want to be able to sew, but we tried threading our sewing machine on a Sunday and it took me 3 hours and it made me so cross I put it back in the understairs cupboard. Or I thought I'd sit down one day and do some sewing and I ended up with this huge angry ball of thread underneath and I couldn't work out what was wrong with it. I thought it was the tension. It made me really cross, so I just put it back in its box and put it away, and I haven't taken it out for 6 years. Or I had a really terrible sewing teacher at school who told me I was awful, and ever since then I've thought I'm really rubbish at sewing, but I really want to learn. And I had all of these people in my life who wanted to learn how to do it. So I thought I would start a little group and see where that went. And 5 years later, I have a number of different programs and courses and a growing community of sewing enthusiasts in Cornwall, where I live. I started sewing at the age of about 4. One Sunday morning, my parents were divorced, and on every other weekend I used to go and stay at my dad's house. And in those days, there was no children's TV on a Sunday morning, only on Saturdays. There was just David Frost talking about politics, and I wasn't interested in him. So when I got up on a Sunday morning, inevitably before my dad, I went for a rummage one day and found a black bin liner full of fabric in the utility room. And it started from there. Every other weekend when I went to my dad's, I would pull out a bit of that fabric and chop it up with the kitchen scissors and use a running stitch to start to make things. I was really into drama and acting and performing, and inevitably I started to create costumes. I got very obsessed with period costumes, and I used to spend all of my pocket money on curtains as a teen, curtains to make replicas of things that I'd seen in Gone with the Wind and Dangerous Liaisons and some of those iconic costume drama films. My mum bought me a battery operated sewing machine when I was about 8, and at the age of 11 I had an amazing teacher. We all loved her. She was called Miss Fairbanks. She made her own clothes and she used to come in these beautiful sort of Laura Ashley-esque dresses, and she got us all sewing for school speech day. We all had to make a garment for the bottom half of us, a skirt, a pair of shorts, a pair of trousers, a pair of culottes, and then applique a motif onto a t-shirt, and we did a little fashion show outside the schoolhouse on speech day that year. And it was obvious that I was completely obsessed with sewing, so my mum bought me a second-hand electric Singer sewing machine, and it all evolved from there. I went to Central St Martin's and I studied design for performance, and following that I went, after a few years working in industry, I went on to London College of Fashion to study specifically costume design, and I spent all in all about 10 years working in London designing costumes and making costumes mainly for ballet, but with a little bit of opera and a little bit of theatre as well. After I got married, we moved to Cornwall and I set up a bridal label, a couture bridal label under my maiden name, and I spent a few years making beautiful bespoke wedding gowns and veils for some lovely ladies, many of whom I'm still friends with today. And then I had a baby and it all changed. And I'm really happy to be teaching. I get a lot of fulfillment out of sharing my skills and my knowledge and helping make sewing a much more accessible thing for people to learn and enjoy. I'm filming all this as we're on day 1 of the UK lockdown during the global COVID-19 pandemic. So if you're watching this in years to come, that's why some of this is a little bit sketchy. We're under a huge amount of pressure. But I'm really thrilled in many ways that this crisis has forced me to put this course online. And I really hope that throughout all of this, if you're a budding sewist or an experienced sewist, that your sewing is giving you something to focus on and enjoy some creativity whilst we all wait for the day that we can go outdoors again. So carry on watching to the next video for session 1.